Hello and welcome to the Soulquake. I am so excited to finally sit down and record this. मतलब बहुत टाइम हो गया, बहुत procrastinate कर लिया, बार record कर लिया. I have recorded over like 100 episodes and it's the same episode over and over again, but it's just me like trying to make it better every time because every time I re-listen to myself talking, I can be like, अरे यार ये क्या कर रही हो यहाँ पे बहनचोद and then I'm like क्यों है इतना 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 बकवास क्यों है ये sound and then sometimes I'm like okay maybe I could have just elaborated more on what I was speaking and I've done it over 100 times नहीं हो रहा ये perfect तो नहीं बनने वाला है so I've decided to give it my best at this one go and bus this is the final one I am not re-recording it again. This is a promise to myself. So, welcome to the Soulquake. The first 30 seconds were sort of a rant, but get used to this, my personality, and this is what you're going to be listening to. So, yes, guys, I am your host, Drishti, and I'm very excited to start करने के लिए क्योंकि this has been on my agenda for almost a year now. I've been wanting to start a podcast for so long, and one of the main reasons is I feel like जो intellectual बंदे होते हैं ना, मतलब जो ऐसे conversation hold कर सकते हैं, जो like capable है, they are driven towards podcasts. They are like, interested in listening to podcasts because that capability to listen is there, right? Therefore, I want to build a community that is firstly intellectual enough to have conversations about the topics that I'm interested in. I feel like I can barely find people like that around me and ये थोड़ा problematic हो जाए because then if you keep surrounding yourself with people who are not adding to your growth or like in some way making you question something or the other, because unless you're questioning what you're doing, you're not improving it, is my belief. Okay. When you surround yourself with people like that, you limit your own potential for growth, right? And that's why I want to start a podcast and build a community with like-minded individuals who can have great conversations and contribute to each other's growth. Well, on top of that, I also want to start a podcast because I have so much to talk about. I literally have so much to talk about. There are so many amazing, wonderful stories that I want to share with people. Some are insanely traumatizing, and I feel like by sharing them, I will be able to help other people who might be facing similar things or might be going through similar things and give them a perspective and help them understand how I dealt with those things. Because I feel like majority of the shit storms I've been through in my life, I've dealt with pretty well. And I've like gotten to a place in my life, gotten to this stage where I feel very content with who I am and who I am becoming. I love this. I love what I have become. And I want to be able to share it with other people. So yes, one of the biggest reasons was also that. Let's start with an introduction. Let me introduce myself to you. I'm sure most of my first few listeners are going to be my friends and you already know who I am. But just in case you are someone who doesn't know who I am a 20-year-old from Pune and I've been born and brought up in Pune, but I'm a Punjabi and I do not look like a Punjabi. I'm always told that I look South Indian. I sound South Indian. I think my 17 years of experience in Bharatanatyam has something to contribute to that because I am so fascinated by South Indian culture. It genuinely is so beautiful and so pretty. Don't get me wrong, I love my North Indian heritage and I love to cherish it, but South India has this spectacular beauty that just can't be ignored, okay? So yes, I am a creative at heart. I love art. I love living. I love nature. I love everything that brings us closer together. It's insane how beautiful life is. And I cherish and embrace every second of it. And this sounds so cliche and cringe, but I literally live by this. Like every moment in my life, anytime I feel anxious, anytime I feel defeated or low, I'm able to ground myself so easily if I just look at nature, if I just take a second and like take 4 or 5 deep breaths, like just the conscious experience of having a life or being a human during this time or getting to see the sunrise or the sunset is so fulfilling to me that nothing feels big enough to crush my soul or my spirit, literally. And I'm very happy that I've reached this stage in my life because पहले काफ़ी depressing था, पहले इतना happy go lucky नहीं था and काफ़ी sad periods थे life में, which we'll discuss. But at the end of the day, your perspective and the meaning that you give to your own life is the only way your life can have meaning. But I'll finish giving you my introduction first. I am currently in my third year of hotel management. I'm soon going to be training at the Ritz-Carlton in Bangalore for 4 months, and I'm mad excited for that because I've literally never lived by myself like that independently and work. And I'm gonna be living with my best friend who I've known for like years and years. So I'm mad excited because this literally never happened to me, and I can't believe that the universe is just giving me such a beautiful blessing. Bangalore is an amazing place, and I've craved a set of new people around me. I've craved a change of scenery so bad because I've been in Pune for way too long, and I think I need to like step out to explore and expand my social awareness, and at the same time and fucking do something on my own, because I've been living with my parents for like 20 years. I think it's time to finally step out and see what the world has to offer. Oh my god, I'm like genuinely scared as I say this. Like, I get nervous jitters about going to Bangalore because sometimes I'm like mad excited and very happy about it. I'm like, oh my god, let's go. Finally, this is my 16-year-old dream. I never wanted to live with my parents, okay? And now I love them. But there was a brief period where I hated them to death, and vice versa. They also like, okay, I don't know, okay, maybe they like didn't hate me all the way, but like they hated me quite a bit because I was a pain in the ass for them. I did fucked shit. But now I like love them, and sometimes I'm like, oh my god, I'm gonna miss them. I'm gonna miss them so bad because I'm so used to being around my mom, my dad, my sister, and my dog. I can't. I traveled in the past week, and we had to keep our dog at the dog hostel. And oh my god, I literally couldn't, bro. I missed him so much. So much. It's unbelievable, okay? I'm talking to this mic like it's my friend now. So enjoy this. But I can't imagine doing that for 4 months. I literally can't. But I'll have to now because I signed up for this months prior. Like, I think I gave my name in Jan. Yes. So in the beginning of this year, I confirmed I'll go to Bangalore. And now as it's coming closer and closer, it's giving me the worst jitters in my life. But at the same time, I'm like very excited also because it's a city of innovation. It's a city where like creativity breeds. So I'm mad excited to be there. And I want to keep recording this podcast as and when like I am working, so I can share my insights, share some like great experiences that I'm having, or share what exactly has changed ever since I shifted there. And something that I really want to document through this podcast is that. All right. After I get the degree, I plan on becoming a mixologist. I am headed towards becoming a bartender/mixologist, and in the future, definitely wanting to open my own restaurants and bars, especially like trippy themed bars. I have so many ideas, and I literally cannot wait to embark upon my career as a mixologist. Some of my other hobbies include reading, working out, painting, and like doing anything with my hands, like I mentioned before. Anything that involves my fingers and my hands is something that gets me going so much. But chalo, without any further ado and without like going on and on about myself, because I could do that for days, let's start with the first episode of this podcast. So today we're going to talk about how my transition from being an atheist to being a hardcore spiritualist occurred. Ever since childhood, my family taught me the principles of Sikhism and Hinduism because I am half Punjabi, half Hindu. And I used to love God. I had a good relationship with God. I believed everything my parents told me. And my grandfather, my mom's dad, he was very close to me. I practically grew up with my grandparents for a while, up until like I was 4. So I got very, very close with my grandfather, and he used to teach me different mantras. He used to teach me how to pray to God. He used to teach me different prayers. So I used to love God. I used to definitely believe in God. I used to do all the aartis, sab ekdam prayer where ekdam chakas, everything would be perfect. And I think 2016 rolled around, and my grandfather started going under serious ailments. He had a lot of health issues arise out of nowhere, and he was very young for all of those health issues to come up. But he had multiple organ failure eventually, and within the span of a month, so he was fit as fuck and he was doing great, and then 1 month later he wasn't there anymore. And that broke me. That literally shattered my very existence, genuinely. The one thing I couldn't understand was why God would do this. Why would God take away someone who loved him so much? Why would God take away someone who worshipped him with such devotion? Why would God do this to someone who has given him so much of his time, right? I couldn't comprehend it. If you would enter my grandfather's bedroom, there were literally idols and posters of God everywhere. And he used to spend majority of his time doing something related to God, maybe like helping someone who's in need. He was a very selfless man. And I couldn't process why the fuck this would happen to him. Why would God take away someone who's so nice and someone I loved so much? And since that day, I lost all my faith. I think in 2016, I must have been, I don't know, I have to do the maths now. Fuck. 13, yeah. 13 or 14. And I lost all my faith. And there was nobody who could make me believe otherwise. I literally wouldn't even accept prasad. I wouldn't attend aartis. I wouldn't even look at the mandir. I just simply wouldn't acknowledge the presence of God. Every time there was a puja in my house, I would go away. I would sit away from the puja. I would not participate in it. I would deliberately exclude myself from it. And that went on for a while. Kafi time ke liye chala wo. Up until like, I would say 2020, I had a good time with that mindset. So for 4 years, I was a hardcore atheist. I didn't believe in anything. It ruined me. It absolutely ruined me because my core belief that there was something bigger than us, something better than us out there that was taking care of us, that was, going to protect us, was shattered. And now it was unbelievable because if someone like my grandfather could be taken away, anything can happen to anyone. God is not looking at who's doing the right thing and who's not. And if God is not looking, is God even there? Because if God was there, how could he be so heartless, right? So that mindset didn't sustain for quite long. I went down a very bad rabbit hole of self-hate and self-depreciation. Along with that, this occurring in my in my puberty years just added to the fuel, and I had a lot of issues, especially with my parents. By the end of 2019, I was, trigger warning, insanely suicidal. I had attempted 3 or 4 times and it didn't work out because I either had my friends talk me out of it or my sister talk me out of it, which I fucking love my sister. She's the best thing that has ever happened to me, and I don't know where I would be if she wasn't here. So shout out to Sylvie, you're the best. I love you so much. Eventually, I realized that not having faith in something, not having faith that things are going to get better was ruining it. During that phase, I realized that life has no meaning. I realized that unless you give your life a certain meaning, and that could be in a number of different ways, that could be through God, that could be through the work you do, that could be through the impact that you want to create on the people that are around you. Only through the meaning that you can give your life can you make your life enjoyable. You're not going to feel at peace. If you fail to give your own life meaning, you're not going to be at peace. If you keep looking for that meaning, you're not going to find it because there is none. There is absolutely no meaning. We're in this abyss. If you keep going up and up and up and up and up, suddenly there's just darkness because there is nothing outside. There are all these planets and everything, and maybe there is life, but it's millions of light years away. And we're probably never going to reach it. And the universe is constantly ever expanding. So there's no hope. And even if there is hope, we can't linger on to that, right? We have to make our time here worthwhile. And the only way we can do it is by attaching meaning to the things that we're doing, things that we participate in. If we're doing things just because we're told to do those things, or just because society considers those things doable, we're not really living true to our own life's purpose or our own meaning, right? And that's something that every individual has to explore and find out for themselves. Like for me, my life, I personally feel like my purpose over here is to help as many people as I can through my experiences, because I've gone through my fair share of trauma and I've come out of it fairly, I've handled it very well, in my opinion. And I think by talking about it to people who might be going through similar things, I might be able to help them. And that's my meaning. That's something that gives me purpose. That's something that drives me to do better every day that I wake up. Every day, every client that I read for, I ensure that I'm giving my 100% because I want to be able to help this person with the skills that I have, with the knowledge that I possess. And by doing things every day or consistently that are in line with my goal, give my life meaning. You're not going to find meaning magically. You're not just going to wake up one day and realize, oh my God, this is the key to end all suffering, because there is none. But you can make your suffering bearable. Like, let's say, for example, you're somebody who's always wanted to be a doctor, and someone who has spent majority of their childhood learning as much as they can about the human body. But as you grow older and older, you fail to get into the universities that you wanted to, and eventually you don't get into the field that you pursued for so long. So you have to settle for another job. But this job isn't in line with what you've always wanted to do, yet it is sustainable. It pays you enough for you to have a good life, have a roof over your head, have good meals and social connections, and essentially like guarantees you having a comfortable experience, right? But what you're doing doesn't make sense to you. What you're doing adds nothing to who you are and the mark you leave on this world. And therefore, even though you have everything, maybe the biggest package that you could possibly get, maybe the best wife that you could possibly have, or the best significant other. I'm sorry, I don't know why I just said wife, and I want a wife. Even the best possible, social status, if you're not doing something that you feel passionate about, you're just never going to be happy. And I feel like if I keep talking about this, I'll keep talking about it. But I hope the past 5-10 minutes of rambling made sense. So this is why atheism didn't work out for me, because that time I didn't have this much capacity to understand exactly what nihilism is. But I was experiencing like deep nihilism, and I was shattered. I felt like there was no reason to live. There was no reason to continue existing. And my thoughts had become overly negative, like insanely negative. I would only think about negative things. I would think, okay, I can't do this. I'm not worthy enough. I don't think I'll ever be able to live like this. I don't think I can, get there. This and that and this and that, and it's not going to happen, and it's never going to happen. And I'm this, I'm that. And all of that started to affect my psyche. And around that time, I got grounded for a month because I was smoking pot with my friends, okay? And I got caught. So I got grounded. My parents were like mad at me. And my mental health got worse because they wouldn't even let me use my phone for a long time. They wouldn't let me go out. And that's something I need, because I'm a mad extrovert. I need to talk to people, especially social connections are something that mean a lot to me, because I have to, I don't know what it is. It's just a need. I need to talk to people. I love talking to people. So at that time, it was insanely difficult. And I kept going down this rabbit hole of self-depreciating thoughts and negativity. And eventually it led me to a place where I didn't want to exist anymore, because I didn't understand what meaning life had. So one day I was scrolling on YouTube and I came across this video from one of the vloggers that I used to very closely follow, because I used to love her outfits and I used to love her style. And she was a lifestyle blogger, I suppose. And she was talking about the law of attraction. I was like, what the fuck? Like, this is a lifestyle vlogger, and she never talks about spirituality or religion or anything like related to mindset. So I was curious because it was completely out of her niche. I clicked on the video and I watched it. And in that video, she briefly explains how much power your words hold, how much power your thoughts hold, and how much power recurring words and thoughts hold. And I was like, fuck, I have kept telling myself to kill myself for the past 6 months because I feel worthless. What do I think? What was I expecting to happen, right? Like, eventually I was going to get to that point where I convinced myself that it was the best thing to do. And so I was like, okay, fine. Because I was very desperate to get out of that mental state as well. I was very depressed. Now that I look back at it, I understand that I was. So I decided to challenge myself for 21 days to just write out positive thoughts and positive things, and also write out scripts about how my relationship with my parents has become. And I did that. And I shit you not, in 21 days, it got so much better. Like, I didn't think my parents were ever gonna unground me after everything that happened, because they were extremely mad. They took me to the cops. They were that mad, okay? And in Jan, they let me go out. And at that time, it was such a big win, because I was like, what the fuck? This is insane. I literally couldn't believe it. And then slowly and steadily, I started like doing it for a lot of different things. I started doing it for my mental health. I started doing it for uh, the group of people that surround me. And there was a whole process of like removing fake people out of my life, and like creating a circle of friends who helped me grow and become a better person. I think that's a ever continuous process. I think you come across people who, sometimes limit your growth, and sometimes you come across people who fuel that energy that's within you. But it's on you, and it's your decision who you spend the most time with, who you decide to let impact your energy the most. Slowly and steadily, when I started getting into the law of attraction, I came across tarot. And my grandfather, who I mentioned before, was a very well-known tarot reader. He used to do cartomancy. He used to practice cartomancy, and he used to do it brilliantly. He was amazing at it. He was spot on. When I was little and he hadn't passed away, he would always tell me to learn from him, because I was the only one who would like really listen to him talk about God or participate in the things that he made us do and take genuine interest in it. And he and I were very close. And he said that he wanted to pass on that legacy onto me. But I was a fucking dumb child. I didn't want to sit and study more. At that time, I was like, oh my God, school is already stressful, and now you want me to learn all the meanings of these cards and the placements and everything. Like, it's too much. So I kept postponing it. And in school, we used to have holidays, right? And during our time, we used to have a lot of holidays. Now it's very bad for the same school. My sister's in the same school, so it's pathetic. But we used to get 2 months in summer and 1 month in winter, because our school was a Christian school. So Christmas, you get 1 month off, and summer vacations, April and May, 2 months off. Our school used to usually start at like 5th or 6th June, I remember. And every summer vacation, I would tell him, winter, okay? We'll do this in winter, because I would spend my vacations at their place. So I'd tell him winter. And every winter vacation, I'd tell him summer. And the last time I told him it was winter, he just wasn't there until the winter vacation to teach me that. And it broke me, because he wanted to really, really teach me that. And I never went out of my way. At some point I did learn a few basics from him, but I didn't go out of my way, and it killed me. So at this point in my spiritual journey, I was like, okay, I think this is a sign from the universe that if I want to stop feeling so guilty and so beaten up about my grandfather, because that was the biggest reason for the downfall of my mental health for so many years, is what I realized, because it was the root. The nihilistic part of it all was the root. I was like, okay, I have to start learning the tarot. I dedicated my next year to studying tarot in and out. I understood the meanings of every different card, and I learned it throughout. And I started giving tarot readings to my friends for free in the beginning, because I was like, okay, what if I'm like wrong and then I'm just charging people for nothing? And it was mad accurate. I was saying things that were on spot. My friends couldn't believe the things that were coming out of my mouth, and that gave me enough confidence to start a business. And now I currently have 2 businesses. One of them is a tarot reading business, and the other one is a jewelry business, a handmade jewelry business. But that's something that really motivated me to start a business. And I've helped countless people since then with my cards. I've helped countless people with my readings. And I think somehow through my grandfather, I found meaning in my life again. Like, he was the reason why I lost it in the first place. But his spirit, I feel like, helped me find my meaning again. And now I'm at the best stage when it comes to my mental health. I feel great. I feel super balanced. I feel super content with who I've become. And it's been an amazing journey. And there's so much more that I want to dive deeper into, but this episode has already gone on for way too long, and I don't want to tire out your ears. Let's save some for the next episode. If you have any questions about the stories, feel free to send me a DM on Instagram at the Soulquake. You can also find me on YouTube, Twitter, and any other social media platform with the same handle. Okay, I'm not mentioning all of them. You know where to find me. Thank you so much for listening, and I'm gonna see you in the next one.